Hey, this is Scott White and Kipowitz, a storyteller with a camera, talking about all the things photographers like you and I are thinking about. And in this video, we're talking about light bulbs from Aputure. In the past, I have used Hue bulbs. These are smart bulbs that are just LED lights that can go to basically any color that you want. And these are HomeKit ready, which means that I can do a bunch of automations using all of my other HomeKit automations. And with a click of a button on my phone or just by telling my HomePod to do something, I can set my entire studio into video mode. And that actually turned off the studio lights, turned on my key lights, and then turned on these background lights that were Hue bulbs. But now I'm using the Aputure B7Cs. These are light bulb lights. They're a little bit bigger than the Hue bulbs, but they have a battery inside and they have vents to cool them down and a bunch of other really cool features. Now, if you saw my video on the Aputure MC, then you know that I'm not a big fan of Aputure's Sidus Link App. It's okay. It does, when it does connect to the lights, it connects and really does offer very fine-tuned control over everything. Now, I'm not going to get into the app itself. I did go into more detail in my Aputure MC video, but what I want to show you today is how cool these lights are, the fact that I can literally go like this, and I can literally go like that and take it out of the socket and it's still on. This light bulb is still on. And in one shot, I can go ahead and I could change the color to basically anything I want. I could even change it and gel it. I have that to daylight, and if I was to make this warmer, you'll see that I'll get a different contrast. And of course, I still have the blue light going in the background right now, but as you can see, it's not connected to anything. It's like magic. So that's one of the cool parts about these lights, is that if you don't have electricity for a light bulb, you could buy a faux socket, screw it to a ceiling, screw it to a wall, whatever you need to, or put it in a lamp that has no electricity, and you can still have a light bulb. These lights sell from between $70 and $80, and you can buy them in kits, or you can buy them just as the bulbs individually. If you buy it as a kit, sometimes it comes with a case, all these cool different things. What I really wanted to see was the difference in brightness between the Hue light and the Aputure light, because is it worth switching? If you are using Hue lights and you don't need the battery feature of the Aputure light, if you are using Hue lights for accents or some splash of color on your backdrop or anything like that, like what I'm doing, do you need the Aputure light over the Hue lights? Which the Hue lights, if you have the Hue system already in your studio, in your house, or wherever, adding an extra Hue bulb is very inexpensive, whereas these are $70 to $80 each. So do you need the Aputure light over the Hue light? Let's find out. So right now you're looking through my teleprompter. That's what you're seeing right now. I zoomed out and I want you to see that you can't really tell, but there is the Hue light right here, and you can't see it because it's smaller. And there's the Aputure light right here that you can see because it's a little bit bigger than the Hue light, so it's sticking out. But they are set to the same color temperature basically, and I've got them on the background. I'm going to turn one off and measure full brightness and see what kind of readings I'm getting with the light meter app. And then I'm going to switch to the Aputure and do the same thing. So here we go. Let's give this a shot. To make this even more precise, I'm going to turn off my key light. It's about to get dark in here. The Hue light is registering between 66 and 6800 Kelvin, and I'm getting between 56 and 58 lux. Right now, I just framed it at 6700 Kelvin at 58 lux. Let's switch over to the Aputure light and check out what that does. So it's worth noting that with the Hue lights, you cannot specify a Kelvin. You can only use the color dial. On the Aputure light, I can actually specify a Kelvin, so I just matched it exactly to what I got from the Hue light. And I set it to 100% brightness. Let's see what we get with that one. Really interesting is that I'm getting a much different reading than I should be. I am getting a reading of 7500 Kelvin, even though it's set to 6800 Kelvin, but I am getting 111 lux, which means that the Aputure light is actually way brighter by more than 50%, way brighter than the Hue light. So there you have it. If you are looking for accent lights and you want it to be a smart home automation system like HomeKit, then the Aputure system won't work well for you because there's no way to integrate it with HomeKit at the moment. Maybe in the future there will be. But what I can tell you is if you need light that is more powerful, that has more of an output, more of a lux, more brightness than what a Hue bulb can do, the Aputure B7C is really the way to go if you needed a bulb. So I threw them back up there, and I've got blue and purple, and I'm digging it. If you have any questions about the Aputure lights, just add a comment down below. And be sure to click that subscribe button.